You're very welcome back to the Daily Rundown with me, Fiona Fox, and I've Jacqui and Chris helping me with the stories this evening as well. Now, just before the break, we were talking about the misogyny faced by Laura Kuenssberg. It wasn't actually just the misogyny. Obviously, I'm sure she wasn't happy that the petition was going at all, which was to get her sacked for perceived bias towards the Tory party. But because Chris, I just thought that was interesting that you were saying that you've just become more aware of the misogyny in the world in general since you've had little girls. More than one, have you?
Yeah, well, no, I've got one girl and one boy.
Right, okay.
So we're aware, myself and my partner, about sort of the pressure to sort of genderise that exists and to put them into no matter what, whether it's a boy or a girl, put them into a little group, and then that's what you do there. And really, the world has changed since those roles were needed to be played in a lot of ways. You know, a good example was in a shop which I won't name. Recently, I saw there was two identical play sets, one for boys, one for girls. And the boys' one was called Junior Doctor, and he had a stethoscope and stuff like that. And the girls' one was called Lil Nurse, and was pink, and you know, and it's this thing of like, look nice, be pretty, and hopefully one day a wonderful man will come and sweep you off your feet, and then you'll be happily ever after. And it's absolute nonsense. Just go and do your own thing.
It's crazy, isn't it, in this day and age though as well? But I was going to say, because obviously you're a comedian, and I guess like you're someone who's going to be open to slagging off or heckling or, you know, attacks.
Within reason. Yeah.
But this is another area where I think where it comes down to women, they go up and they might do, like for example, if you go up and you do a really bad set, you're not funny, heaven forbid, I know it would never happen, but you know, you're not funny. They're going to say
more often than you think.
That guy wasn't funny, and they'll say it in lots of horrible ways, but yet if a woman goes up, not only was she not funny, she was ugly, she was fat.
You're right.
You know,
you're quite right.
Before everyone started having the old man bun, I used to have my hair like this as well, and the criticism I would get on stage would be basically I had a haircut like a girl in essence, which was inherently insulting to a man, which is ridiculous.
But that's an insult.
And that seems to be an insult, and that seems to be, therefore I am less of a man because I had this haircut. So, you know, that is misogynistic as well, in that men are negatively viewed by comparing them to women, which is, you know, ridiculous.
Yeah, so what would you hope as a dad then of a little girl that going forward, I mean, say she does do something horrendous and she deserves to be kind of, you know, having to defend herself for some reason, that hopefully people could stick to the facts of whatever it was that she did wrong and didn't kind of bring it down to...
Well, exactly. I mean, if she was, for example, if she was the political editor of the BBC and there was some alleged bias, then I would hope she would be judged as to whether or not she had programmed the news on the BBC in a biased way, and that would be it. It wouldn't matter whether it wouldn't matter whether it's a boy, girl, a marsh, and a dog, whoever is in charge of it. You know, as long as it should be, you should be judged on your actions and what you know, and about, you know, the criticism should be levelled at the thing that is the subject of the criticism, not what your appearance looks like, what you look like, what, you know, who you are, how old you are, what colour you are, what gender you are. It's ridiculous. They're all irrelevant things.
The thing is, I think probably you mentioned it earlier on, Jacqui, social media, isn't it? And just something will just get legs and that's it. And like basically every tick has a voice now, don't they? Like, so it's just they're out there, they're shouting it, no one knows who they are.
But like you say, especially if you're a woman though, for all the wrong reasons.
Would you feel though, having a little boy, that education is extremely important around this now? Definitely,
yeah. Well, because I think the roles that the men have to play in society are different now as well, and there's a sort of a new type of masculinity, and the world is a much more equal place. And I think that men and therefore boys struggle to know where to fit in there, and some of this comes from that. You know, I think some of the misogyny is based on men thinking, well, why are women in charge of things now? That was never the case. I should have this position of power just by virtue of the fact that I'm a man, and that is a difficult thing to get your head around. So I think virtually any problem in the world, but certainly when it comes to social interaction and human interaction, can be solved through education. But it's got to start at an early age, and it doesn't help that little boys are playing with guns and little girls are playing with dolls necessarily, and why never the twain shall meet. It's, you know, all you're doing is setting up basically two camps for the future in essence to war and squabble, you know, for no reason.
You're right, but education, isn't it? It's the bottom line for everything, really. Great point. Thanks very much for that, guys. Let's go to our next story. David Cameron has described Nigeria and Afghanistan as fantastically corrupt in a conversation with the Queen. The Prime Minister was talking about this week's anti-corruption summit in London. We've got some leaders of some fantastically corrupt countries coming to Britain. Nigeria and Afghanistan, possibly the two most corrupt countries in the world, Mr. Cameron said. I really wanted to hammer home that was Mr. Cameron's quote. I felt like that wasn't clear there. Nigeria's president, who came to power last year vowing to fight corruption, said he was shocked by the remarks. This conversation took place at Buckingham Palace at an event to mark the Queen's 90th birthday. So the birthday celebrations continue. And I don't know if we'd had too much of a celebratory drink or... there was a camera. Have you seen the footage?
I haven't seen the footage, no.
It's there to be seen.
I heard it on the radio, and he was doing it in a bit of a jokey kind of way, which sounded like, I don't know. It makes me cringe when I hear that sort of thing. But then I thought there was a brilliant.
Did you think it was banter?
It was quite bantery. He was doing it in this sort of chatty way about this anti-corruption summit. And you could tell it was effectively people talking at like a drinks reception type thing.
Right. Yeah, that's what it is.
But then it transpired he was talking to the Queen and the Archbishop of Canterbury, which I thought was quite an amusing image. You know, he was effectively saying that, look at these corrupt people coming over to our country of fairness while I'm here talking to this, you know, God's representative on earth and in this castle, you know, so...
This is Dodgy Dave, who's got 36 grand of mine.
Ooh, well...
And a lot of other women my age, do you know what I mean? To pay the debts.
And men, it's an equal society,
yeah.
Jacqui.
36 grand is 6 years.
Yeah.
It's not got 6 years of men.
No.
But no.
But you know, for me, it kind of made me look at the footage. Kind of made me wonder what kind of relationship does he have with the Queen and like that with the Archbishop of Canterbury that they just all.
Well, exactly. It was like they all share a flat together or something. It was quite amusing. There's a sitcom in there somewhere.
Or the Prime Minister, the Queen, and the Archbishop. Yeah, there's material or something in there definitely for you, or like you say, sitcom.
Yeah, it's. Things are, I think there's possibly nothing inherently incorrect in what he said. I'm no doubt Nigeria and Afghanistan are corrupt countries in the way that all of them are, but I don't think David Cameron currently is the best placed person to be talking about corruption after the leaks from the Panama Papers.
Yeah, people in glass houses.
And well, exactly. And like I say, all countries are corrupt. It's just how you portray yourself in the press.
That's the point, really, isn't it? There is corruption, obviously, in every country. But the most hilarious part of the whole thing, you should watch it afterwards, is the Queen just standing there listening. The Archbishop of Canterbury sort of he does sort of feel a bit more uncomfortable with it, I think, though. Yeah. He tries to take a bit more of a neutral stance.
The Queen must be used to just listening.
I wish we had the clip actually to watch.
It would be good. The Queen must be used. We could act it out later on, maybe. But the Queen, if we can get some costumes, the Queen must be used to listening to people just talking nonsense, basically, and just have a default go to a happy place type thing, I would have thought. Yeah. Whereas the Archbishop of Canterbury is someone who actually has an active role in society, really, in a lot of ways, and is quite possibly offended by what was said, or even could see the sort of hypocrisy within.
Yeah, definitely.
Or was aware there was a camera on them at the very least, maybe. Maybe he should try and rein it in a little bit. I don't know. It just kind of looks a bit awkward. I don't know if there's something going. Do you feel like there's something going on with David Cameron at the moment? He's not in a good place, I think, personally. Well, there's been a few gaffes now.
It's not getting good advice.
Apart from the big clangers, apart from the obvious big stories, what's going on with him? Do you think?
I don't know.
I just think
I don't know.
He's brought a lot on himself by having an EU referendum that he didn't really need to have, and he's in danger of losing that, I think, and he's a bit that must be playing on his mind a little bit. And there's also the fact, I mean, if I was any member of the government, I'd stop going to Buckingham Palace. Every time they go there, someone's saying something that gets leaked out and it ends up coming back to bite them.
He doesn't want to miss the party, though, Chris. You
just think, I'm stood here, if I can't talk to the Queen, and the Archbishop of Canterbury without someone earwigging, then, when can you discuss all your clandestine plots?
And I think I think he has a glass of bubbly in his hand now. I might have added that just for a bit. I'm pretty sure.
You're giving him an excuse.
No,
that's what you're doing. You're giving him an excuse to say it. That's what it is.
It's not the excuse. It's the relaxed sort of slagging off that he's just doing as a Prime Minister. And as you said, like, obviously it's in the week. It's the most inappropriate week in the middle of talking about anti-corruption and that kind of thing, where he sort of says this in such a blasé, and it's an offensive way he does say it. It's offensive in the kind of flippant.
Yeah.
Oh, we've got all these corrupt lads coming over now. It's I don't know what else you would say. It's like a sitcom. It's like what was the sitcom that the Rick Mail politician. It wasn't the Prime Minister, but it was the way
the New Statesman.
Is it? Yeah, is that what I'm thinking
Alan
of?
Bastard.
Is that what I'm thinking of?
Yeah.
It's like something from this time. I think. Do you think even he needs some big PR sort of overhaul?
He wants
It
to
just
sack
doesn't seem to go
Johnson's
well
got.
for him at the moment.
Or less PR. Just come out and be
less
yourself.
PR, yeah.
He's already said he's not going to stand for Prime Minister after this term. Just go and just be completely unspun. He'd have my respect then if he just came out and said what he really thought of everyone at every single meeting.
Really? Is that
That'd
what
be
you think what he's
interesting.
done today? Does
Quite
that mean
possibly.
so do you find him...
Maybe he's moving more into that sort of area.
So what are you envisioning here, Chris? Then, what kind of things are you talking about? Like, throw drinks in people's faces or storming out of places?
He did all that when he was in the Bullingdon Club, didn't he? Really, that was the old thing. Just treat people with contempt at every. That's what I do if I was in charge of the country. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You're not a fan, Jacqui. Sure, you're not in general.
Of David Cameron?
Yeah.
No.
Does this
No, because it's like. This is the one and only time that junior doctors have come out on strike. Any time ever. It's like nobody is happy with what's going on in this country at the minute. Nobody.
No, hedge fund managers are probably quite happy with it, aren't they?
Apart from them. But general public, ordinary working people who just trying to get on with their life and make sure everybody's got a roof over their head and people with kids just trying to make it work. They're not happy.
That's him today. He's trying to live his life, and there's somebody recording him. Have a private conversation with the Queen and the Archbishop of Canterbury. For goodness' sakes. No, you know what? It won't be long till the next gap, probably. So we'll reconvene and chat about that. Thanks very much, guys. We're going to go for another break now. Don't go anywhere. We've still got more news to talk about, and the movie special with Chris coming up as well. See you soon.